Hi, I'm aging supermodel Rory O'Neill.
I am also aging, and I'm James Kavanagh.
And welcome
To Beducation!
In this episode, we're talking...
Cyber to grinder,
That's clever.
isn't it? This is my first time in bed with a doctor, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is my first time in bed with a twink.
Thank you.
Well, here's the big difference between us, because you probably don't remember life before the internet, do you?
No.
You see, whereas, like, when I tell people, like, stories from my childhood, or about how I discovered sex and stuff, I can see, like, younger people looking at me and they're thinking, oh, that sounds so old-timey. And I feel like Laura Ingalls Wilder.
She wrote letters.
Well, yeah. well, what terrifies me is, right, you probably turned on the internet one day when your parents were out and you went to some porn site, and every single graphic detail about sex, from the most extreme to the whatever, came pouring out in one big data dump onto your moist lap. And I think that would have absolutely fucking freaked me out. Whereas for me, it was like it was a journey, right? Discovering a tiny, and there was a time where, kissing was, as exciting as a blowjob, and then there was a time when a blowjob was as exciting as, fucking, whatever. And it was like this whole journey, and I'm glad I had the journey, and I don't think people of your generation had the journey.
Gaydar was the first website that I kind of explored my sexualness with other people. And I used to also go to the porn site, I think it was called ActiveDuty.com. It was all these kind of like American jocks.
It's mental note.
It's good. But yeah, I actually remember the internet was so slow in our house that I ended up printing out loads of little porn images and hiding them in my diary, so that I could access them without waiting for 10 minutes for a dick to load.
Like, I had two porn videos. One was, both have been given to me. Yeah. Because if you wanted to see pornography, like, I didn't see pornography until I was well into my 20s. Because if you want to see pornography, you had to go to a big city, go to a shop, go into that shop, stand in front of a counter, and you just saw the covers, and you had to pick one based on the cover.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why porn stars were paid more, because if there was a recognizable name, you'd sort of think, oh, well, yeah. So, the first one that was given to me was, by a friend of mine, was a copy of one called, and how wonderful is this? It was called Carnival in Rio. Oh. I thought, every gay person had sex in a costume.
I remember I'd be in school all day, and then I'd come home and go on Gaydar, and then it was like, it was kind of exciting finding out messages, that I got when I was in school or when I was out or whatever. Now it's just so instantaneous. So I kind of like that I had that experience of waiting hours and then going home.
Yeah, but try waiting months for a letter to arrive or something like,
Yeah. And I think there was initially that fear of being judged. I think that you met someone online.
Yeah, that's long.
But I think that seediness or whatever that's people associate with online dating and stuff is gone.
Yeah.
Like, I tell my mum's friends now, oh, we met on Grindr. Oh, very good, lad.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, 5 years ago, that would have been like, oh, and what? And where did you have sex in a cubicle?
Although, I use Grindr, less, at least. Because I feel very old on it. But it depends on where in the world, because each country has a different hierarchy of apps.
Yeah.
But certainly here I feel really old when I'm on it. It's very young.
But I met my current boyfriend on Grindr 5 years ago, and he didn't have a profile picture. And I'm always just a bit wary of non-profile pictures for various reasons. But he had really good grammar, and I was actually like, that's, there's nice grammar there. I was kind of attracted to that. Yeah. So I decided to keep chatting to him, and he was saying nice things, and then I was like, send me a photo. Then I realised he's actually a ride. What kind of do you like about good profiles on Grindr?
Listen, here's the thing that bothers me, that annoys me. Well, I need to know just the basics.
Yeah.
I'm not an ageisty guy. I am interested in everybody, nor am I a body fascist, but I want to have a vague idea of roughly what age you are, roughly what you look like. Just because, if that comes up later and it's something beyond my pale, then it's awkward. I had to take my face off them. For years I had my face on my profiles. And I almost felt like I had to. Me of all people in some ways, I kind of felt like I don't think be weird or ashamed, but half the messages I get are from 18-year-olds who just want to talk to me. Or there were people like, I can't believe you're stolen Panti's pictures. And
like, it's me.
And then I feel like I have to respond to this 18-year-old kid in Wexford or whatever.
See,
I think what it is, people get really drunk or something.
Yeah.
And then they start sending real slutty messages. Or they're sending pictures of their asshole or something as their hello. And then they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
I've never turned anybody away at the door, have you?
No, never. No.
I haven't either. I'm saying like
have you heard of people doing that?
I have. I know people who've done it.
I have arrived to hookups and I can visibly see the disappointment that my pictures were very best foot forward. And maybe that's my fault for being. And I can see the level of excitement drop, and it's actually soul destroying, but.
Grab the biggest thing. Water Glide. What is that? I don't have my glasses on.
Okay, a lubricant and sensation gel for an ultra sensitive feel. So it's lube.
Yes, it's lube.
I remember my first lube experience was in the George, aged 16. I got free lube.
Oh,
I didn't use it in the George.
Yeah, I was thinking, what?
But I got those free lubes and condoms, and beforehand I didn't realize lube existed, so it was always a little bit painful. And then I was like, what is this witchcraft?
They show it to you.
Yeah, they don't really use them, or else it's bareback or whatever. But it was my first lube, and I never looked back.
I grew up in the days of the AIDS scare and everything, so like it was all about the condoms and the silicone lube was like the new revelation.
Yeah.
It never dries out. Oh. A really ineffective travel douche.
Is this a travel douche?
Well, that's what I think of these things as. Yeah.
See, I think this looks like the perfume bottles.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else.
Old theatrical ladies, and they put the powder on them.
What else is in the box? Thank you. My little initials there.
Well, I love that you just assumed I meant extravagant as a compliment.
Girl, the shade of it all.
Clearly coming from you, extravagant as a compliment.
Yeah. Oh, it's camera.
Kim Kardashian sex tape vibe. So this would be for a little
sexy
personal.
Movies. Oh, I love a sexy movie.
Have you made a sexy movie?
Oh yeah.
Many?
Yeah. Well, just for the fun.
I've taken photos. I've never taken a movie.
Well, see, here's the good thing. If you want to get a good picture, sometimes I will just take some video footage and then I'll screen grab the best frame.
Ah, very good.
I love a sexy movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm such a narcissist. Sometimes we'll watch ourselves.
You know what we are?
I only watch porn where I can identify with one of the two
people.
Yeah, because I want to be able to put myself
in that situation.
Imagine it.
Would you ever be tempted to leak a sex tape?
No.
I've thought about it. I think it could be kind of fun. But I do it in the episode of Sex and the City where Samantha leaks her own sex tape, but she produces it.
Oh yeah.
So she has a cameraman, a producer, a makeup artist, so you make sure you look stunning.
It's also a really good way to learn how to use iMovie. Oh my god!
Here we are.
I think when I was younger, obviously it was the original poppers, amyl nitrate. And, people, you could buy them behind the bar in the George. They were just available because they weren't illegal. We used to, when we were doing club nights, we'd have like a guy walking around with a tray, and handing them out.
I think people more use them now as getting giddy at pre-drinks and stuff with friends rather than...
You're kidding me.
Yeah. It's used a lot now for just... I see people in smoking areas having a little cutesy sniff of a popper and then a giggle.
When I first came out, they were a dance floor thing.
Okay.
So there was every gay bar and just go, the smell of poppers was everywhere. Whereas then that kind of stopped when they sort of became a bit illegal. And also the scene weirdly has become much less sexy in some ways. As the queerness became more acceptable, and you can bring your mother to the gay bar, a lot of the sex is being taken out of the scene.
Yeah.
But then the apps have replaced that, and things like nowadays people have like sex parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sex parties in Dublin? That's a brand new thing, and that's because the apps have facilitated it.
Yeah.
It might be Candy Fall or something. Yes, it is.
Ah.
And it's a good one.
This is
for
for
Piles.
Piles. Yeah. I've had Piles.
Oh, thank God. I was
Yeah.
about to say, please don't tell me you've never had a pile.
No, but not from, I don't think from sexual injury. I think just from stress.
I generally, I don't think it's anything to do because I get them, I've had them occasionally in dry periods of my life. I can remember when I was younger, like my friend used to get them all the time, straight guy, and I thought it was just an old man's thing. And then I got the first one around 30, and then they started getting more frequent a bit. And
I was terrified when I first got it. I think I was like maybe 25 or something when I first noticed it. I was like, what is this? But yeah, pile.
Well, thankfully mine have never, I'm not one of those people who can't sit down or anything like that.
Yeah. But yeah, piles, they don't discriminate. I think everyone gets piles.
Well, what I hate about them is just fix them, giant drug companies. If you can, fix cancer and everything these days, I think you can get rid of a bloody pile. And I want a painkiller in it. Like in Spain, they just give you all the things with, what's the like an anesthetic in it, which ours don't have.
Yeah, you've a rider list for your anal. So.
Well, I just feel like just make the perfect.
I want it lightly fragrant.
Yeah, no coloring. With the anesthetic, hydrocortisone.
Yeah,
just everything in it.
Shaving. I'm not a body hair shaver person.
I like a trim.
Okay.
I like it neat, but I hate I don't want to look
70s porn.
Ken.
Okay.
Barbie's Ken or whatever.
I think from watching porn when I was younger, it was all these American jocks completely hairless that I started to shave everything. And not to say that I'm like letting myself go now, but I'm less like, oh, there's hair there or whatever. But I remember me and my friend Anthony, we used to use the Veet spray cream. And we used to have these showers where it was just cream up to our necks. God. And it was on a Friday night before we'd go out.
But are you naturally hairy?
Kind of, yeah.
You see, I'm naturally smooth, so it's never been, I never think that much about it.
I'm an 8th Italian.